What's going on, everybody? This is Rich from Gaming on a Budget, the channel that reviews free or cheap games with the hopes of recommending you some dope shit. So today we'll actually be taking a look at the game Skyforge. So I actually heard about this game from a fan of the channel. He hit me up on Xbox and said like I should try this game and that it'd be something he'd be interested in playing. And I was like, you know what, for sure. I downloaded the game not too long after that. So shout out to Tokabak who told me about the game because he's the reason why I'm reviewing the game. But real quick, let's go ahead and talk about the facts. So the genre of the game is an MMORPG developed by Obsidian Entertainment, published by My.com. It released back in July 2015. Platforms you can play it on currently include Windows, PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. And the most important question on this channel, is it cross-platform compatible? Unfortunately, not at this time. Meaning if you have friends on different platforms, you'll not be able to play with them. So sucks, I know, but hey, not all games are going to be cross-play. So let's go ahead and talk about the story. So Skyforge takes place on a planet called Aelion that exists in a universe of gods. Aelion was a free world protected by the great god Aeli, who helped the people of the planet flourish. Aeli one day just disappears, leaving behind all of his followers. Aelion then falls under attack to hostile gods and invading alien forces from other planets. The followers' only protection now are known by lesser gods and people known as immortals. Immortals are powerful beings that, for one, can't die, makes sense, and two, can use amazing abilities and magic. Your character, while on a mission for Aelion, is attacked and killed by what is known as the Reapers of Death. However, you aren't dead for long. You awake as an immortal with new power and strength. Being one of the last defenses of Aelion and its people, you as an immortal must fight for your planet and destroy those who seek to end it. So after putting some hours into the game, I've come up with some takeaways that I want to discuss with you guys, and without further ado, let's get into it. So the first point, the visuals. Visually, the game's actually pretty decent. It's one of those where the cutscenes and the trailer were visually a lot better, but the in-game graphics aren't too bad actually. Being an MMO, I know graphics-wise there might be a trade-off because of all the stuff that's going on in the game, so I understand. The environments and planets you play on actually look decent. Also, the monsters you end up fighting aren't too bad either. And then there's your character. You're able to create your character with really great detail. I mean, you can control things like nose size, eye color and shape, the size of your hips, and all that. So overall, I would say that the game visually is not bad, all things considered. So the next point is the mechanics. So other than the normal stuff you would expect from an MMO like Skyforge, there are some pretty interesting things that are happening mechanics-wise in this game. I'll talk about the basics first, and then we can get into the cool stuff. So the first thing is the classes. Pretty early in the game, you meet up with this lesser god who trains you on classes. In the game, there are about 18 classes in total, each with their own unique abilities and magic. However, initially, only about 3 of them are made available to you. You unlock the others with progress or choosing to pay for a bundle. As far as strength and endurance, types of attacks and defense, this all depends on what classes you choose. The classes have specific types that they fall under that you'll be familiar with. For instance, a tank, a damage dealer, and then there's support characters. I chose to be a cryomancer class, which basically allows you to control ice and do things like shoot ice missiles, as well as create ice shields. So one cool thing is you can actually switch between classes anytime. So you're not stuck as one thing ever. You have the freedom to switch between classes whenever you want, and I thought that was pretty dope. So now let's talk about the movement. So moving in Skyforge, there's pretty standard stuff going on. However, I was a bit disappointed with the sprint mechanic in the game. I mean, it's basically just the degree in which you move the left joystick. It doesn't feel fast enough, especially with all the land you have to cover on missions. Another thing is the dash ability. Allows you to quickly dodge or move in a certain direction. Sounds great, right? However, it takes up energy and you can't spam it. I really wasn't a fan of this. I feel like you should be able to dodge whenever you want and as much as you want, and there shouldn't be a meter. But hey, that's just me. However, depending on your class, your dash may change. So for instance, I'm a cryomancer, so I do this cool like ice skating thing, kind of like Frozone from The Incredibles, if you guys remember that movie. Also, another thing I wish would change is that there's no double jump. You would think, being an immortal and being able to control things like magic, you would at least have the ability to double jump, but nah, not in this game. But that's pretty much it for the standard stuff. So let's get into the cooler mechanics. So let's talk about knowledge. So in the game, you can collect knowledge after you kill enemies in battle. You collect knowledge, which you can then take to this tower to improve your might. Might has to do with how much damage you deal, as well as how well you retain health against certain enemies. So you technically get stronger against enemies you fight throughout the game using knowledge, which I think is pretty cool. So the next mechanic is called cathedrals. So in Skyforge, gods get their powers from followers. The more followers you have, the more powerful you'll be. As an immortal, you can also be worshipped by followers. After attaining a cathedral, you gain more followers by performing rituals. This almost reminded me of like social media, you know, like doing something to gain more followers and becoming more powerful. Pretty interesting mechanic, and it's a bit different from things I've seen before. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the game modes. So in Skyforge, there's PvE and PvP. So in PvE, you play the campaign with 3 people on doing co-ops, or even up to 5 players eventually through progress. And it gets even crazier than that. In raids and in seasonal invasion events, you can play with up to 10 players. So in player versus player PvP, you can actually fight against other immortals. You can play 3v3 ranked matches and even massive 10v10 fights with different maps and objectives. You are even able to play in a more League of Legends style or a MOBA style in the game mode called Battle of Golems. So, and if you feel like playing free-for-all, you can play up to 6 players as well. So overall, there's a variety of ways to play in Skyforge, which are all pretty cool, and there should be something for you. All right, so you guys know what time it is. Let's go ahead and talk about the highlights. So one of the things I really like about the game is the story and the universe of Skyforge. I'm a big fan of sci-fi, so learning about the game and how it takes place in a world of gods and magic was really interesting to me. Mechanics wise, one of the things I like best is the ability to switch your classes whenever you want. I really like that they don't lock you to one class and give you the freedom to move around and try shit out. I like the idea of the followers and the knowledge as well, but the other mechanics were just kind of regular to me. Again, having infinite dash and double jump would be great, but it doesn't completely take away from the game. Final thoughts, Skyforge is interesting, but it's an okay game. It has some cool stuff going for it, and it's not too far from your everyday MMO. As far as MMOs, it gave me a way better impression than some of the games I've reviewed in the past, such as DC Universe Online from Season 1, but overall it's pretty good. I bet it would be pretty dope running this with some friends as well, so I'd be down for that. As far as rating, I'll have to give Skyforge a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad game, but I just feel like there's some things that are missing. A little bit in the visuals, a little bit in the mechanics, but overall, it's a solid game, I would say. And if you're into MMOs, it's something you should try out. But as always, I want to ask you guys what y'all think. Have you played Skyforge? Have you even heard of Skyforge? You're gonna give it a chance? What are your thoughts on this type of game? What do you think about the whole gods thing? Magic and having followers and gaining power and all that, the story of Alien. What do you guys think about all that? I want to hear everything you think about this game in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and drop a like, and if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe. Videos on a weekly basis, including game reviews, including some top secret G14 classified stuff that's coming up, and just some cool stuff. And also, if you're new here or if you've been hanging out around for a while, go ahead and tell me a game I should play. Go ahead and let me know what you want me to play next, what you want me to review. Ideally free games, but hey, if you have anything that might be cheap and you think I get a blast out of playing, go ahead and drop that as well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out this content. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys showing the channel love. Really do appreciate it. So thanks for checking this out. I'm Rich from Gaming on a Budget, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.